The clink of silverware against porcelain suddenly stopped. My sister Sarah's voice cut through the warm family dinner like a knife. How could you, Emily? I see the way your belly is starting to show. You're pregnant by my husband, aren't you? The entire table froze. Mom's fork hovered midair. Dad's face went pale. Mark, Sarah's husband, looked like he'd been slapped. And me, my heart hammered so loud I could barely hear the gasp that escaped my own lips. If you're watching this right now, lean in close, because what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about love, betrayal, and the unbreakable bond of family. Stick around until the end. I promise the twist will leave you in tears, and if this story touches your heart even a little, please hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life emotional stories that remind us what truly matters. My name is Emily, and for as long as I can remember, Sarah has been my whole world. She's 6 years older, the protective big sister who braided my hair before school, stayed up late helping me with math, and defended me against every bully on the playground. We grew up in a modest house filled with laughter, homemade lasagna on Sundays, and the kind of unconditional love that makes you believe nothing could ever tear you apart. But life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. After college, Sarah met Mark. He was charming, ambitious, and seemed to adore her. They married in a beautiful garden ceremony where I was her maid of honor, crying happy tears as I watched my sister walk down the aisle. For the first few years, everything was perfect. They bought a cute house 2 streets away from our parents. Family dinners became a weekly tradition again. But then the struggles began. Sarah discovered she couldn't have children. Years of doctor visits, treatments, tears in the bathroom, and quiet disappointments followed. I watched my once vibrant sister shrink into someone haunted by empty rooms and unspoken longing. Mark tried to be strong, but I could see the cracks forming, the late nights at work, the forced smiles, the way their conversations grew shorter. I couldn't stand by and do nothing. Sarah had given me so much growing up. So, after months of secret conversations with counselors and long nights researching, I made the decision that would alter all our lives. I offered to be their surrogate. Using Mark's sperm and Sarah's egg through IVF, I would carry their baby. It was supposed to be the ultimate gift, the way I could finally repay the sister who had always been there for me. We kept it private at first, telling only our parents when the pregnancy test turned positive. I wanted it to be a surprise, a moment of pure joy when the baby arrived. But secrets, even beautiful ones, have a way of twisting into shadows. The pregnancy brought joy, but also unexpected challenges. Morning sickness hit me harder than anyone expected. I was exhausted all the time, struggling to keep up with my job as a graphic designer while hiding the growing bump under loose sweaters. Mark was supportive, driving me to appointments when Sarah couldn't face another reminder of her own body's limitations. We grew closer through the process, sharing late-night texts about cravings and baby names. Sarah, however, began to withdraw. Jealousy crept in like fog. She'd snap at small things, accuse Mark of caring more about the vessel than her. I tried to reassure her, reminding her the baby was hers in every way that mattered. But pain has a way of distorting truth. That fateful dinner was meant to be a celebration. Mom had made her famous roast chicken. Dad poured wine, non-alcoholic for me, of course. We were all laughing about old childhood stories when Sarah's eyes locked onto the subtle curve of my stomach that no sweater could fully hide anymore. The accusation flew out, fueled by months of insecurity, rumors from nosy neighbors, and her own fears that Mark had fallen for me instead. I've seen the texts, she hissed, tears streaming. The way you two look at each other. You've always been the pretty one, the healthy one. And now you're stealing my family. The room spun. I felt my cheeks burn with a mix of shock, hurt, and a deep, aching love for my sister. Mark started to defend himself, but I held up my hand. My voice, when it finally came, was steady but trembling with emotion. Sarah, you're wrong, but I understand why you'd think that. I took a deep breath and began to speak the truth that had been building inside me for months. I told them everything. The IVF process, the egg retrieval, the embryo transfer, the quiet sacrifices I'd made because I loved her more than my own comfort. I pulled out my phone and showed the medical records, the ultrasound photos labeled clearly with Sarah's name as the intended mother. Tears flowed freely now, not just from me, but from everyone at the table. Sarah's face crumpled as the realization hit her. She had let fear poison the most selfless act of love I could offer. But the challenges weren't over. That night opened floodgates. Sarah confessed her deepest insecurities, how infertility had made her feel broken, unworthy, and terrified of losing Mark. Mark admitted the strain had pushed him to emotional exhaustion, and he'd leaned on me too much without realizing how it looked. I shared my own struggles. The physical toll of pregnancy, the loneliness of carrying a child that wasn't mine to keep, the fear that this gift might cost me my sister forever. We talked for hours, long after the food went cold. There were apologies, ugly cries, and finally, hugs that mended what words alone couldn't. In the months that followed, we faced more hurdles together. There were complications with the pregnancy, preterm labor scares that had us all rushing to the hospital at 2 a.m. Sarah was there every time, holding my hand, whispering encouragement. Mark stepped up, prioritizing family counseling so we could rebuild trust. I learned to set boundaries, reminding everyone that while I carried the baby, Sarah was the mother in every heartbeat that mattered. Our parents became the glue, reminding us of the values they'd instilled: forgiveness, empathy, and the power of choosing love over pride. When the day finally came, labor was intense and emotional. I delivered a healthy baby girl, little Sophia. As the nurses placed her in Sarah's arms, my sister looked at me with eyes full of gratitude and love I hadn't seen since we were kids. "You didn't just give me a daughter," she whispered. "You gave me back my sister." Mark held them both, tears in his eyes, and I felt a profound peace wash over me. The baby wasn't mine to raise, but the bond we'd rebuilt was stronger than blood. Looking back, that dinner accusation was the lowest point, but it became the catalyst for healing. It taught me that family isn't perfect. It's messy, painful, and sometimes filled with misunderstandings. But when you choose to speak your truth with love, even in the face of accusation, miracles happen. We've grown closer than ever. Sophia is 2 now, toddling around at our weekly dinners, and every time I see her laugh, I'm reminded that the greatest gifts come from the hardest moments. If you've ever faced betrayal in your family, felt misunderstood, or wondered if love could survive the deepest hurts, I hope this story reminds you that it can. Healing starts with courage, the courage to speak, to listen, and to forgive. Life is too short for silence when your heart is breaking. Thank you for watching until the end. Stories like this are why I share these emotional journeys, to connect, to heal, and to remind each other we're not alone. If this touched you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another heartfelt tale. Drop a comment with your own family story or what you'd do in my place. I read every single one. Share this with someone who needs hope today. Until next time, hold your loved ones close. You never know when a single dinner conversation could change everything.